Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 58 of the Hammer Territory podcast. I am your host, Brad Rowland, coming to you on a Friday night. Yes, a Friday night, and I'm joined by Scott Coleman. Scott, what's up on a Friday?
The Braves are what's up on a Friday, Brad. I'm going to be totally honest with everybody listening, and a big thank you to tuning in on the weekend, which we don't usually do. But Brad and I were texting this morning, and we're like, hey, maybe we'll do a show tonight. The team is playing really well. The Braves have won a couple of 50-50 games lately. But of course, if the Braves lost tonight, I can guarantee you that we would not be doing a Friday night show. So thankfully, they came back, won a very enjoyable baseball game on Friday night. And here we are doing a bonus episode and plenty of good things to talk about with the way the team is playing right now.
Yes, that's right. And nothing less from us. We'll still be back on Sunday in our normal slot as we might plan to do. And by the way, if you're a new listener, welcome aboard. This is a good time to jump on the board with this podcast. We are part of the Foul Territory Network. Please go ahead and subscribe to this podcast anywhere you might find podcasts. Just search Hammer Territory on Apple, Spotify, Overcast, etc. Ratings and reviews very much appreciated. It's been quite busy on the podcast in recent days, not only because the Braves are playing well, which you just said and is definitely true, but also the deadline was this week. It feels like it was a lifetime ago now, but you guys did an emergency reaction after the Braves acquired Jorge Soler and Luke Jackson. We did some analysis after that, both you and I, as well as our regular co-hosts, Stephen Tolbert and Sean Coleman. But yeah, here we are. The Braves have won 4 in a row. They are now 6-1 since what we hope was the rock bottom of a 6 consecutive loss about a week ago. And don't look now, Scott. The Braves are only, as we record this podcast, 5.5 games behind the Phillies, and it could be 5 by the time listening to this podcast on Saturday. The Phillies played late night tonight in Seattle. We don't have the result of that game yet, but again, it could be 5 by the morning, and that is a sharp departure from where things were just a few days and weeks ago.
Yeah, I think the largest deficit the Braves had was 10.5 games. So the fact that they have basically cut that in half in a very short amount of time is obviously great because it gives them a real chance now in the division. And I know a couple of folks pointed out the upcoming schedule, but in case you missed it, this is suddenly a very, very important next 3 or 4 weeks ahead for the Braves and the Phillies. The Braves have a pretty soft upcoming slate of games. They have taken care of the Marlins in the first of 4 games. Then they will play the Milwaukee Brewers, who are not bad, but a team I think the Braves obviously have a chance to win a series against. And then they head out west against a terrible Colorado Rockies team, a Giants team that just sold off some pieces, and then a very, very bad Los Angeles Angels team as well. And meanwhile, the Phillies are about to embark on a 10-game West Coast road trip against the Mariners, the Dodgers, and the red-hot Arizona Diamondbacks. So this is a very important stretch of games coming up, and the fact that the Braves are now very much within striking distance, assuming they keep on playing well like they have been, this could suddenly get really interesting in a hurry.
Yeah, and we don't want to get over our skis, of course. The Braves have been inconsistent this year. There's been a few times where they've gotten us excited a little bit, but certainly it's feeling much better than it was as a bare minimum. And in fact, I'm going to credit our usual co-host, Stephen Tolbert, who just actually said this to us and basically flagged this, and I think that you would agree with me. We'll come back to the game tonight for the second half of this podcast, but it felt like tonight would have been a loss for most of the season, if that makes sense. The Braves being down 3-0, vibes not fantastic. The offense had gone quiet for like a full game between the end of Thursday and the beginning of Friday, and it feels like that's the kind of win where it's like, hey, maybe they're coming out of it for real this time because they actually just haven't won that game very often this year.
They have not won this game very much this year. And the win on Friday night very much felt like one of those games during this division run where they were kind of drawing dead early in the game and then just really turned it on. And even though there wasn't a ton of offense until late, the Braves have just been much, much better with execution and taking advantage of the few situations they have to score a run. We're going to go deeper into Friday night's game, but just, executing a sack bunt, which I thought in the moment was actually the right call, which is maybe off brand for this podcast because we are anti-bunt on this show. Hitting with runners in scoring position. There was a great at bat from Austin Riley down 0-2 where he just put the ball in play and it came in to score a run. Just little things like that end up being very important. And you got to start doing those things if you're going to start stealing baseball games. And looking back on the first half of the year, I could probably count on one hand the number of games where the Braves quote unquote stole from the other team. But just in this 6 game winning stretch of 7 games where they're 6-1, there have been a couple of instances where it felt like it was truly a 50-50 game, or maybe not even a 50-50 game, but they figured out a way to win.
Yeah, we're on the same page there for sure. And we'll save our deep dive into Friday for the second half of the show. But quickly on Thursday, because the last show that was on this feed was on Wednesday night, ably breaking down everything from Sean and Steven. Thursday was more of a straight ahead win, a little bit less to discuss in that one. The offense was powered early by 3 home runs, one by Riley, one by Olson, and one by Arcia. And by the way, we're going to talk about Arcia, I promise you, in a few minutes. Charlie Morton was not his absolute best, but looked pretty good to me. 6 innings, 1 unearned run. And I don't know if you saw this, Scott. If we could just build the whole plane out of Charlie Morton at Truist Park, we'd be just fine because he has a ERA of literally 1.01 in his last 6 starts in the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, Charlie's having a really weird season.
He
He
is, yes.
he's been really good sometimes, and then he has been unbelievably bad in other starts. And maybe that comes with some of the territory of being 40 years old and having high expectations for a player of his track record. But it really is as good as some of the other starters have been. Charlie's been a roller coaster. It seems like you never know what Charlie Morton you're going to get. But thankfully, even if he was a little shaky early on Thursday night, he settled in, and 1 run with 6 innings is more than enough against a team like the Marlins that really are struggling.
Hey, FT fam, it's Alana Rizzo. I can't stop talking about Vuori. Vuori is perfect if you are sick and tired of traditional old workout gear. I wear Vuori in all settings, not just in the gym, because honestly, it's comfier than whatever you're currently wearing. No joke. I'm wearing Vuori daily leggings right now. They're high-waisted with the drawstring and cuffed ankles. They look good and they feel great. You're going to love them. Vuori is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they are offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at vuori.com/foul. That's VUORI.com/foul. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Go to vuori.com/foul and discover the versatility of Vuori clothing.
One more angle on Thursday that actually bled into Friday a little bit is that Raisel Iglesias pitched for the third straight game on Thursday. He pitched very well. It's rare that Snit would do that, especially at this point in the season. It's notable that he only threw 34 total pitches in 3 days, but still, it felt like Snit wanted to get that one, wanted to use his guy. And that's one thing. But the other thing that I wanted to make sure we brought up, because I feel like that I am guilty of this, we don't talk about Iglesias very often on this show, in part out of respect because he's just so good and safe and normal that he doesn't come up a lot. But kind of just a good idea to kind of flag how good he has been, because his ERA is under 2, and like he's been just awesome. And it's a good time to kind of note that because he was unavailable on Friday, because he was so good over 3 days before that, and he's been awesome all year long, really.
I think with a reliever, a telltale sign that a reliever is really good is when you don't really talk or think about him very much because he is doing his job effectively. And really, since he came over in the trade 2 years ago, Raisel Iglesias has been very, very good in the 9th inning. He got off to not a bad start this season, but he was not his A1 self early on. He wasn't getting a ton of strikeouts or swing and miss, which was a little bit of a concern. But especially lately, Raisel has been fantastic. And whenever the Braves turn the ball over to him in the 9th inning, at least for me, I have about as much confidence as you can have in a reliever in a close ball game.
We were excited about Raisel when they traded for him, of course. That was a deal in which they took on a lot of money, but it was worth it for a guy who is as good as he has been. And this year, 1.73 ERA with 39 strikeouts and 8 walks. He's not allowed a run, at least an earned run, in about 6 weeks. And I just found this as we were talking, because you brought up the time since he actually arrived in Atlanta. This is pretty wild. It's 2.5 seasons. Well, I guess 2 full seasons now, basically. He's appeared in 128 games with the Braves. Scott, he has an ERA of 1.89 as a Brave.
Yeah, That's fantastic. And I feel
Yeah.
like Raisel is probably a little underrated nationally, where if you were to ask a fan of, hey, Brad, name the 5 best closers in baseball, he probably has a pretty good claim to being part of that list.
Yeah, I wish I pulled the numbers, but I would imagine since he's gotten to the Braves, he has been a top five closer in baseball. And obviously he doesn't really pitch multiple innings. There are, there's those interesting relief arguments that we won't have now about like how you use your guys, but Snit is still very much a I have my guy in the ninth inning kind of manager, and Raisel is perfect for that because he just goes out and does his job. He's an older guy. He doesn't always like blow you away aesthetically, but the results are the results, and he has been awesome. And I feel like we've talked about it a lot. So good time to talk about that now. And then Joe Jimenez came in tonight and slammed the door. And it's nice for a bullpen that's been very good all year. And we have said that a lot in general. The bullpen's been very good all year. It's a nice thing to have when you're not terribly worried because most teams, when they don't have their closer available, it's like a little bit worried in a tie game. Sorry, in a tight game, I should say. Not so much for the Braves. They have a lot of quality arms, and it's kind of encouraging for people like us to not have to worry too much. We were kind of doing podcast prep in the ninth inning, which is a good sign.
Yeah, supreme confidence in the back end of this bullpen. Joe Jimenez has been really good as well. I mean, frankly, he's probably a closer for what, a third of the teams in baseball. And I actually tweeted about it a couple of days ago, but we are just past the 1 year mark since the Braves traded for Pierce Johnson. And Pierce has been just superb with the Braves. An ERA below 2, an 80-20 strikeout to walk ratio, so 4-1. Pierce Johnson's been great. Joe Jimenez has been great. Raisel has been great. Hopefully, AJ Minter can continue to settle in after his couple of injury issues earlier in the season. Aaron Bummer, Dylan Lee. It really is a quality bullpen from top to bottom. And the Braves are, let's hope, as long as they stay healthy, going to be in really good hands down the stretch with this unit.
You guys can't hear that, but Scott was knocking on wood when he said that. I promise you he was.
Every piece of wood within a mile. Yeah.
Try to be diligent about that on the podcast. All right, let's go to Friday. Of course, the game just happened. It was a 5-3 victory. The Braves were down 3-0 early, which we sort of alluded to earlier in the show. They kind of climbed back in it gradually. They got one in the fifth, one in the sixth, and then kind of broke it open a little bit in the eighth. You brought up Whit Merrifield to me. Obviously, he has been on the fringes. We did talk about how Mark Bowman and others kind of flagged that he might be a bigger part of the roster moving forward because of the Nacho struggles and all that once he was able to come back and field. But he was a big part of the game tonight, to be sure. And obviously, there are other heroes that we'll get into, Arcia and Schwellenbach in particular. But Whit Merrifield was a quiet standout tonight.
And when I watch Whit Merrifield, and he is now 35 years old. So clearly he is on the back nine of his career. But you can really tell that at once upon a time, this dude was a really, really good baseball player. And it's a small sample with the Braves, especially since he had that gnarly finger injury a couple of weeks ago. But he does a lot of things that can help a team win a baseball game. Solid defensively so far, had a nice play tonight to get a ball on his left that probably should have been a hit. And just a lot of really good hitting in big moments. He had a triple in the sixth inning that he came around to score on, ended up cutting the deficit to 1. He also had a perfectly laid down sacrifice bunt in the eighth inning that would have eventually come around to score Jared Kelenic to tie the game. It really is, while we were rooting for Nacho Alvarez to emerge and step in and fill the void of Ozzie Albies, Whit Merrifield, through at least a couple of games, has already made an impact. And I think my confidence level in second base with him out there is pretty high considering what the Braves are dealing with injury-wise.
Yeah, and we did talk about it a few days ago, but it's not like we're arguing that Whit Merrifield is awesome because he's not. He's just he's more of a plug and play guy. That's the kind of guy who's available for you in July to sign off of the Scott Pete basically. But I think it is a safety upgrade in some respects. He can go out and do his job, and then when Ozzie gets back, he can gracefully slide into that utility role that he kind of was playing in Philly and other places. And I think he's a very nice luxury to have for a good team. We mentioned it, but they scored 3 in the eighth to kind of break it open. Jorge Soler's first hit in his Re-Braves stint, his number 2 stint. And then Arcia drives in the insurance run to go up 5-3. And look, it's Orlando time. We have been critical of Orlando Arcia this year. I think rightfully so. He was maybe the worst player in baseball or one of them going up till about 2 weeks ago or so. But Scott, I don't know if you noticed this, and maybe it was because, at least in part, because of the joke that you told about him hitting fifth the other day on Twitter. But Orlando Arcia has been out of his mind for about 13 games now.
Orlando has been awesome. And maybe it was never in doubt after I tweeted about, are they really batting Orlando Arcia fifth in this lineup going into Thursday? And I guess a tip of the cap to Brian Snitker, who has been around the game a whole long time, and he deserves credit for pushing the right buttons. Orlando has, I mean, the power has been really encouraging as well. It's not like he's just hitting a bunch of soft singles and it's not sustainable. The power has been good. He had a couple of really big hits the last couple nights, including a very important insurance run in the eighth inning tonight to push the lead to 5-3. As we have said forever on this podcast, Arcia's glove is very, very valuable to this team. But if he can just give the Braves a little bit of something in the bottom part of the order, or even now in the middle part of the order, it is only going to help the cause overall. And hey, he's been red hot the last couple of weeks. And I would imagine the way he has hit the last couple nights, Orlando is going to continue to be in that fifth spot until he presumably will cool down again at some point.
Yeah, it was to defend my co-host. It was very funny to me as well to see Orlando hitting fifth because of the way he's played this season. But, coming into that, and people, I think, got on you right away about like, have you seen what he's done the last 10 games? Like, okay, I wouldn't make my lineup decisions based on that personally, but he has been better. And he looks more like, the way that I would say it is that he looks more like the guy he's been at times with the Braves, which wasn't a great hitter, but was a league average hitter, like, and shown some pop. I would love to get someone smarter than you and I about swings to tell us what has changed, because Arcia, it wasn't like when we covered this before, but it wasn't like he was getting super unlucky with batted ball stuff. His batted ball profile was awful. He just has not done anything all year long. And then suddenly the power has come back. And I mean, he has an OPS over 1,000 in the last 13 games, 4 home runs in the last 6. Like it's all that stuff there. And I should at least acknowledge, just to say how bad it was before, even after all of that, he has a 75 WRC plus for the season. So like that kind of tells you how bad it was before this. But we even said, to be fair to us, he was never supposed to be as bad as he's been this year. Even as a longtime Orlando skeptic with the bat anyway, he's not as bad as he was until mid-July. There was just no way. Yeah. So this is some regression to the mean in a positive direction, I suppose.
And hey, we'll take it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
In order to, if the Braves, and it's a big if, but if the Braves are going to try to chase down the Phillies, they are going to need some unexpected heroes to step up over these final 2 months of the season. And hey, if Orlando Arcia wants to really turn it on for however many games and give this team a real boost offensively, we will take it. And, you just kind of hope that as he hits and maybe a few others in the bottom half of the order continue to hit, it feels like we've already felt the impact of Jorge Soler in the leadoff spot. And even if Jorge has not been hitting great so far, he just has 1 hit and a couple of walks. I'm just moving Jared Kelenic down to like the 7th or 8th spot in the order to lengthen the lineup. It just feels better when you're watching it in real time. And then hopefully 2 weeks from now, we will have Michael Harris back in center field, batting somewhere in the middle of the order. Then I think we're going to look at the lineup and go, okay, this group here looks like a very potent and capable lineup. Whereas just a couple of weeks ago, it was like, man, this is the Atlanta Braves. This is the lineup the Braves are running out there. So very much good vibes with Orlando right now. And hopefully he keeps it going because, man, if he can stay hot for a couple of weeks, the way the top of the half of the lineup is batting right now, it's only going to help things and keep the Braves on the winning track.
One more thing from Friday's game, and you and I are going to break our promise to each other to keep this podcast short. We're already going to be close to that number now. But special Schwellenbach has to be discussed. He did allow 2 home runs tonight. And that was why, in conjunction with the offensive downturn early in the game, why they were down 3-0. But he has been really, really, really good. Just to give the numbers, last 5 starts, including tonight, 33 innings, 9 earned runs, and here's the crazy one: 38 strikeouts and 1 walk in the last 5 starts for a rookie in the middle of a pennant race. And also, this is I think it was a Sarah Lang stat. Somebody pulled this, but he is now the only rookie in the modern era of baseball with at least 25 Ks and no walks over 3 starts. Like, what are we even talking about here? Is he an alien? What's going on here?
Yeah, and just to reemphasize that stat,
One more time.
the the one and only rookie in the modern era of baseball, which is many, many years at
It's
this
like
point.
it's like 100 years. It's a long time. Yeah.
Yes. 25 plus strikeouts and no walks over 3 starts. I mean, rookie or not, there's probably only so many pitchers in the history of baseball who have done that.
38 strikeouts and
Schwellenbach,
one walk in 5 starts. Like zoom out even. I know he had one walk
yeah,
4 starts
yeah.
ago, but like what are we doing here? 38 strikeouts and one walk for a rookie? 5 starts? Sorry, I
He
don't.
is,
We don't often do the baffled thing, but I'm actually baffled by how crazy that ratio is for a guy in the middle of a pennant race who's 22, whatever he is.
yeah, maybe 24. But I mean, yeah, I'm kind of at a
24.
loss
You're
for
right. Sorry.
words. Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words. Schwellenbach has been so good. And I mean, I look forward to the 5th day when he's on the mound. He has quickly become appointment viewing for me. I mean, it was pretty clear early on that this kid had a real chance to stick. I would like to say that we, give ourselves a little bit of a pat in the back here and say even if the results early on for Schwellenbach weren't great, it was pretty clear this kid had the stuff to at least be at the major league level, and he just had to learn how to attack hitters and really learn how to put batters away when you're ahead in the count and get back into the count whenever you fall behind early. But he is so good. He is so impressive. And there's nothing fluky about this Schwellenbach start. You mentioned the strikeouts and the walks. I guess the only thing that has me a little concerned with him is he has given up quite a few home runs on the mound. But if he keeps getting those strikeouts and limiting walks, and he does a pretty decent job of keeping the ball on the ground as well, as long as he doesn't develop suddenly like a chronic home run problem, I mean, I think we're potentially looking at a very, very good middle to upper part of the rotation starter here.
Yeah, I think it's 9 home runs at 10 starts, which is a lot for sure. Um, I would just, and this is very unscientific, but part of never walking anyone is that you throw some hittable pitches, and that's part of the deal. And I'll
Yeah.
take that, Scott. Honestly, nothing drives me crazier than guys who walk people. I think people know listen to the podcast for a long time will know that, but I hate walks. I cannot handle walks, and
Yeah, me too.
he's the opposite of that. It's been really really fun to watch, and I think you feel it from like the hardened beat writers, people that are around the team, people that are more like us that are just online Braves diehards that like keep their guard up to some degree, and everyone's kind of like celebrating Schwellenbach Day now every 5 days, and that's fun, man. I mean, he's done enough, and yeah, I know his ERA is like 4, so like it's going to be one of those things that's maybe a secret to people outside of Atlanta because of the ERA, but his peripherals are better than that. We just sort of again lauded the strikeout to walk ratio, but man, he's been ludicrous. And another great one tonight because look, some guys would have unraveled more than he did. 2 bad pitches, you can argue obviously more than that, but the 2 home runs, yes, but he kept him in the game, got through 7 innings. Like he did his job and more. You and I were joking about it. I think you kept me on the rails a little bit tonight when they were down 3-0. It's like if they can't score 3 runs against the Marlins, they don't deserve to win the game. That's right. That's 100% right.
Yeah. And thankfully, Schwellenbach didn't take the loss tonight with the offense waking up late. And you mentioned his numbers on the whole. No, yes, I believe his ERA on the season is 4.04. But his second start against Boston, I think he gave up 6 runs.
Yeah.
So quick math tells me that his ERA is probably like 3.2 or 3.3 since those starts. And sure, I mean, every pitcher is going to look better if you take out his worst start. But for a rookie who is presumably learning things on the fly and getting better every time he goes out there, I mean, his numbers are fantastic across the board. I mean, even if you're not a big believer in the underlying metrics, his xFIP is 3.2 now on the season. That is very, very good. That is top 20 pitchers in baseball good in recent years. So again, we cannot say enough things on Spencer Schwellenbach and just how important he has been to lock down the 5th spot in the rotation.
Yeah, it's been huge. And we'll get out of here now, but it's been fun. I mean, we led with that. We'll end with it as well. 4 wins in a row, 6-1 since that rock bottom loss. The rest of the weekend, if you were listening to this show before the game on Saturday, it's gonna be Grant Holmes' time on Saturday. He was actually quite good on Monday against Milwaukee. And then Sunday is kind of a TBD. Do you want to run through all of the machinations that have been reported? I'm looking now just to make sure we haven't missed anything tonight, but there is some genuine uncertainty about who pitches on Sunday, even if we already know it's going to be Grant Holmes on Saturday.
Yeah, it feels like the Braves are taking it day by day with the rotation, but Brian Snitker came out and I think had some pretty encouraging updates with the rotation. It sounds like it might be Max Fried making a start on Sunday. He was technically eligible to come off the IL on Friday, but obviously the Braves did not make that move. And down in Gwinnett, AJ Smith-Shawver was supposed to pitch, but he was scratched. So it's also possible that the Braves call up AJ for Sunday's start. They're off on Monday, so that would give Max another 2 full days basically to distance himself from the nerve issue in the elbow. I would guess that's probably what they're going to do to give Max a little more time off and to give AJ Smith-Shawver kind of a reintroduction to the major leagues after missing a few months against a pretty terrible Marlins lineup. It feels like a good spot to get Smith-Shawver a start. But we will see. Maybe by the time folks listen to the show, there'll be some clarity. But I would imagine for Sunday, it will either be Max Fried or AJ Smith-Shawver.
Yeah, that is, I think we're on the same page there. Ronaldo Lopez still day to day. He's not thrown a bullpen yet, which is the next step, really probably the final step for him. But all reports on Max are good. So if Max doesn't pitch on Sunday, people should not panic about that. That's what I would say, based on what's been reported, what's been out there, what Max has said, what's Nit said. Giving him 2 more days, like you just laid out smartly, makes sense to me. And I know the Braves have been pretty cautious with their starters, like even the guys who have not had any injury issues. Sale pushed back a lot this year, a couple different times. They've been cautious with, and by the way, that's fine. I get it. They have guys they like, and they want to be cautious. But Max is going to be hopefully Max when he comes back. And if it's Sunday, that's cool. If it's Tuesday, that's cool. And then we will see on that. I have to say one more thing before we get out of here, though, Scott. I just checked my Twitter mentions along with yours, and someone asked us if we're going to talk about the trade deadline acquisitions of Matt Olson and Orlando Arcia, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, baby.
I can't stop laughing. I got through the whole show without mentioning Matt Olson, but let's just say Matt Olson's been looking like Matt Olson again too, which is good. We like that.
Yeah, the power's been great. He had a couple of really good at bats on Friday night as well. He should have drawn like a 10-pitch walk, but the umpire rung him up on ball 4, which is always annoying. But yeah, man, I think Steven is probably the champion of this movement. But if the Braves are going to be at their very best, that includes a performing Matt Olson. And maybe for the last week or so, he has been much, much more like the guy who was so damn good last season and the guy we know that can come close to carrying an offense by himself with his power the way it's been showing up lately. So encouraging stuff. Austin Riley also had a good night.
Yep.
Marcell Ozuna just missed a 3-run homer that would have erupted Truist Park. He ended up plating the go-ahead run, but he just missed the homer. Soler, we know what he can do. The catchers, Murphy, Travis d'Arnaud, who's been kind of quietly fantastic all season long. It really is. It feels like the pieces are maybe slowly but surely starting to come together. And anytime you can run together a bunch of wins like this, it's hard not to be excited about what this team might be able to do in the final 2 months of the season.
That's right. And shout out to Chip Carey. It's like acquiring a bunch of all-stars at the deadline. It's really, we'd love to see it across the board. Scott, anything to share and plug before we get out of here on a podcast that went longer than we thought it was going to go?
It always does, Brad.
It always does. We knew it was going to happen. It's okay.
Hope everybody out there has a fantastic weekend. Let's hope the Braves pick up 2 more wins against the Marlins. It is always a little weird to be like, they need to go out and win this series or they need to go out and sweep the series because baseball is a funny game, but the Marlins are so bad right now, Brad. Let's hope the Braves can win these final 2 games this weekend, get the sweep. At very worst, go 1-1. You would still take 3 out of 4, which maybe wouldn't be the greatest outcome, but I think you have to take it. But yeah, this was a fun and maybe a bonus Friday night pod. But hey, the Braves are playing well. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about, so we wanted to do an extra show.
That's right. And hopefully folks will enjoy this bit of extra content. Check out the Grant Holmes Salad Experience on Saturday, as I know I will be watching, and then Sunday, and then you and I will plan to be back in our usual slot on Sunday evening. Please go ahead and subscribe to this podcast if you've not already. Hopefully you enjoyed this show. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. And again, tell your friends about the podcast as well. Follow us on Twitter at Hammer Territory. We're all over social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, all those places. And one more time, thanks for listening. Thanks to Scott for being here with me as always. And we'll see you all next time.